Okay, hi. It's me again, Corey. Part one was a little recap, or really a long recap, of Cupid's life with a little bit about Mars and my journey as a trainer, too. Part two is going to be my vlog about how we just moved and the training, like the training plans that I have for Cupid in this new house in this new neighborhood. So, also, I wanted to reflect a little bit on the fact that I've been kind of teetering on the edge of getting a third dog basically for Cupid's whole life. When I washed him from bite work, I had really been enjoying doing bite work training, so I wanted to get a puppy immediately when I washed him because I wanted to immediately get back into bite work training. He was no longer a candidate anymore. I was having a good time in those sessions, and I was like, okay, I'll just do it with a third dog. I don't remember how I stopped myself from doing that, but I am grateful every single day that I did not prematurely pull that trigger because I have already been struggling to balance work life and hobbies and non-dog hobbies and just like take care of myself physically and my mental health. Like that has been, I just turned 30, so that has really been like the story of my 20s. And yeah, I think if I had gotten a third dog, I would have McFreaking lost it, even more so than I have over the last decade. Um, it's really hard enough to do what I'm doing already, and I don't remember if I was thinking about this when I decided not to get a new bite work prospect right away, but because he is lame so often, I have to rest him. I have to dedicate a lot of time to giving him low impact or lower impact enrichment activities, and a third puppy would have really taken away from my ability to care for the two dogs that I already have. And so, yeah, that's kind of like a huge deal. And I also have been thinking a lot lately about how Mars is my first senior dog as an adult, and as she starts to show signs of aging, I feel like I just want to give her more attention. I want to be able to, oh gosh, I don't want to get emotional right now, but I want to freaking spend time with my dog who is getting old. And also, she has started to really prefer walks without her brother. You could just use your imagination how she's expressing that preference. And so I'm trying to do that for her. It's nice. She's really happy and loves a Mars only walk. She also likes going out with my training adventure clients. It's just her brother that she gets pissed off about, as far as I can tell. And so that's more time consuming for me, obviously, than having her tag along for walks with Cupid if she's getting her own walk. And yeah, like I am probably going to get a third dog before Mars passes, but I mean, maybe. Who knows what's gonna happen? But right now, I'm just like, I just need to settle into and take care of the dogs that I have and really nail down this physical and mental health thing because very annoyingly, I am still working at it hard at the age of 30. And yeah, I mean, I don't actually feel bad about that because who isn't? Like, all of my friends are having a hard time too. So, just adult things. And I think I covered everything that I have on this page. When I do get a third dog, I'm definitely going to be relying on other people to help me, is the other thing I was going to say about that. I've said this before, and you guys probably know it, but I am not one of those mule dog trainers. There are so many people in this industry who have 10 dogs in their house, 20 dogs in their house, 5 personal dogs, 3 sports that they do. Like, it's crazy, and obviously I think about those people a lot because some of them are my friends, and you just see it all of the time. And yeah, like I can't do it. I can work a normal amount, quote unquote normal, and I can kind of take care of myself and my two dogs, and that's all that I can handle right now. So when I do get another dog, I'm planning on really thinking about how I can like ask other people to support me, maybe afford other people working Cupid for some sessions a few times a week, or with this new job collaboration that I will be announcing officially soon, having some support for my personal dogs there. Or, my partner already helps me watch Mars and Cupid sometimes, and I don't want to stress him out with another sport dog, but just thinking about stuff like that. Like I'm trying to collaborate and think about community and how society pushes us to isolate ourselves, and it's like I can't do this all by myself, and I'm not going to, and I'm going to try to think about like how we can all do it as a team, or whatever, whoever that is in this story. And so yeah, those are my plans for next dog. Like I said in part one, the same thing that happened to me for dog 2 is happening to me now for dog 3. It's like, do I want another cattle dog because I love my cattle dog so much? Do I want another Dutch herder because I love my Dutch herder, but also it's been so stressful in some ways to own him, so maybe I don't want a Dutch herder? Or do I want a pit bull or a rescue mutt or something, because I have known and loved so many of those dogs, and I've had tons and tons of clients where I've said to myself, like, I would have this dog, I'd keep this dog, I would own this dog. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with that. Anyway, jumping into the move, I just lived in a tiniest little crappy apartment for the last year. I made the jump a year before that to go from living in the suburbs to back into the city again. It has been so wonderful in so many ways. I'm closer to my friends. I am closer to events that I want to go to. I've gotten back into creative writing, and I'm in a writer's circle. I've been able to connect with some like queer, gender nonconforming, blah 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 stuff. I can just freaking hang out with my friends without commuting for 2 hours. I can just spontaneously decide to do something in the city on the day of. Like before, everything was this huge plan. I had to plan really meticulously how I was going to care for my dogs and how long I was leaving them. And now I don't have to do that, and that's awesome. And for work too. Most of my clients are in the city, and I decided that I like those clients more than the clients that I had in the suburbs too. And so it's a lot easier for me to do all of my work sessions right now as well. That being said, I picked an apartment that was really cheap because I was doing some like business transitions too, and I wasn't sure how much money I was going to make, and I wanted to just be as frugal as possible. And so I lived in a really shitty apartment that was cheap, and it was flooding, and it was nasty, and there were things hanging off the roof, and it was infested with cockroaches and all of this other stuff. And yeah, there were things that I loved about the apartment, though. It had a beautiful vaulted wood ceiling, and I really loved the location. But with the flooding stuff that was happening, it just really quickly became apparent that I needed to leave. And so I did. And so I just had about 2 months of chaos figuring that out, where I was going, and all of that good stuff. And I ended up finding a place owned by the landlord of Taylor Teaching Canine. And so me and Taylor have the same landlord now, but in different buildings, and I was able to stay in the same neighborhood, which is really important to me. Having Cupid, I need to be close to a big park or have a big yard, which doesn't exist in the city. So, and I wanted to be pretty like central still to get to things. And so we're still in Humboldt Park. We're still close to the actual park, which is awesome. And I just love this neighborhood. And now we have a little backyard, and I have more space in this apartment. It is not falling apart. It is not infested with bugs. And yeah, it's great. Interestingly, though, there are, even though I'm just a mile away from where I was before, this area is much more condensed with dog traffic, and it's really full of dogs that are in their front yards. Um, Motherfucking everyone who walks by. So fence fighting dogs. And so that's something that I knew already because I knew this area and I did know that I had to make a training plan for Cupid because we have not lived in a place where he has seen that often. And when we have occasionally encountered fence fighting dogs, he has been activated by that. And so that's what a lot of this video is going to be about. Um, yeah. Oh, but just like real quick, the actual move. Um, Cupid was a little agitated by the moving this time. It seemed like more so than the first time that we moved. I think that's because the first time we moved, I did it in like over the course of a couple weeks with like a bunch of moving trips, and this time it was kind of all in 3 days. So he just had this edginess about him, and he like had crazy diarrhea one day that I think was a stress response, and he was just kind of like, ah. Mars was normal. Mars was like anything could happen in my life, and I would feel exactly the same every single day, which is awesome. I opted to use sedatives for Cupid because I could not deal with that. He's been on these sedatives before for when he needed crate rest. I know that he responds well to them, and so I used them to help him be calm during the move, but I will not pretend that it was mostly for his benefit. I will say it was mostly for my benefit. And so I just wanted to say that too for all of the pet owners out there who feel so guilty about ever prioritizing their feelings over their dogs, which is like such a funny, like, funny time to be in society that is a dominant thing in like certain populations of people because like when I was growing up, like people were like, it's a dog, but now there are babies, and I get it. Like I have that level of emotional investment in my pets for sure. But anyway, yeah, I was giving him sedatives, and it was for me so that I could move without having to think about my diarrhea, having barking, agitated dog. And that's what I did for like 3 days. We did the move, I was unpacking, and then after 3 days, I went to start having him not on drugs. I was exercising him like normal, and I could dedicate the time to helping him, regulate himself and meeting his needs. And I was so excited to use our backyard. And we have my neighbor just planted, like my downstairs neighbor just planted grass, and so I was having him do some stuff back and forth on the sidewalk next to the grass, which I think is what I would do anyway because I don't want him to rip up all of the grass again when it is there. So we were doing some really short range, like 20 feet. I would throw the ball, have him do a couple of tricks, and then have him go grab the ball. And we did that for like 15 minutes or whatever. And then I walked him, and I was like, this is so great. Okay, what happened after that is that he ripped his paw pads open, even doing this like really calm thing. And he also messed up his shoulder from reaching down to pick up the ball. So immediately he was a lame disaster, and so we put him back on the drugs again for like 3 days because that was just a lose-lose. Like those were all of our options basically. And yeah, I could not be stressed by this though because I recognized immediately that I would just lose it if I got stressed out about that. And also, I did know he would be okay. Like, this is not a new thing. I knew he just needed a couple of days of rest and he would be back to normal again. And so I'm like proud of myself for that happening, and I didn't crash out about it because I feel like when I first got Mars, and then again when I first got Cupid, I just had what I hear like new mom stress being about, where every time something goes wrong, like it just like hit me so hard in my soul, behaviorally or physically. And now, and physically, I mean stuff where like they are okay, like there's just something a little bit off or they're injured or whatever. But now I think I'm a lot better at being like, this isn't my first rodeo and everything's gonna be okay. And so, if you have your first dog and you're in the first year or maybe like first 3 years and like you feel like every little thing makes you crash out, I'm here to say that maybe that will get better if you have the same experience as me. Or maybe it won't. Maybe you'll just keep freaking out for the rest of your dog's life. So, anywho, yeah, that's what we're up to. And so here's my training plan. Maybe I should edit this summary into the beginning of the video for a little preview. I don't know. Here's my training plan. So I wanted to talk about this too. So he's being normal in the house now after we've been here for like a week. And this is something that I see in client dogs a lot, and I feel like it's like confusing for people, and I like when I can catch this and flag it, though sometimes I feel like I don't do, or a client doesn't always fully believe me the first time I tell them. But dogs can have really good off switches in the house. Like you have a dog who is just good at chilling out in the house, and their ability to be chill in the house does not necessarily signify that their needs are being met, and that's a little complicated and nuanced, but Cupid is the perfect example of this. Cupid will sleep in the house. He'll just be good and sleep because he just has a genetically good off switch. Like his temperament is that where he is sleeping on the couch right now, and I haven't done anything with him today. I take him outside for a walk, and there's a lot of action going on, and he's like, poop, 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 poop. That's for him because he hasn't been exercised, because he has had no enrichment that day and his needs aren't met, and so he is channeling that lack of fulfillment into being stimulated by the environment. I'm not saying this is what's going on with every single dog, but I see it a lot. So it's a little confusing. He's not acting indoors like he is so like crawling out of his skin because he hasn't had any running around time or toy play or whatever today. But when we go outside, I immediately see the results of that lack of exercise. And so that's like this couch potato that still needs exercise conundrum. And I see it all the time with dogs in the city. Obviously, if you don't have a backyard or whatever, the dog goes out and they're just really activated by everything, and it's like they just do need to run around. And what's hard for our city dogs, and this is a life that I am actively living with Cupid right now, is that a lot of times you are taking them outside because you're walking them to the park so that you can exercise, or you're walking them to your car so you can take them to class. And so these high energy city dogs need to be able to control themselves in that headspace. There's all of these training techniques that are like, we need to get them to calm down, we need to lower their arousal. With these dogs in this situation, you are not going to do that. And for that, 5 blocks or whatever, they're going to be that jacked up because they haven't done anything. And this is the transit from point A to point B so that you can do something with them. They need to learn how to be that jacked up and to still be under control. And so that's just something interesting that I feel like there's very few things right now in the dog training industry that I feel don't get talked about enough, because everyone loves to make a short form video about every single thing 100 times talking about the same subject. But that is something very specific for city dogs that I actually feel like isn't talked about that much. And so, yeah, if that's your dog constantly, I would recommend brainstorming ways to exercise them or wear them out before the walk. And if that is, your specific issue in transit to being exercised, then you need a training plan for teaching your dog to be able to follow obedience commands even when extremely excited. And yeah, so we go outside right now. And Cupid is like, holy moly, there's like a bajillion dogs here. And they're all barking in this neighborhood because a lot of them are out in their yards and they're barking, barking, barking. So one thing that I've been doing is that if I have Mars and Cupid with me together, I will walk them no further than the end of our block for a potty walk. And right now, I'm only walking them separately, which Mars prefers anyway, but you know, it is inconvenient for me if I'm just getting them to go to the bathroom or whatever. But I have to be strict about that because I need to do certain training techniques with Cupid if he sees a dog who is fence fighting, and it is just too hard to do that with two dogs in my hands. So I could manage it, like I'm a good dog handler. I could get by in those situations, but from a behavior modification standpoint, it's going to be an unideal training repetition. And so right now I want to prioritize him having the behavior responses that I want him to have in those situations, and so I just need all of my hands to do that. Plus, Mars thinks it's her job to kill him if he is excited, which makes that a little bit even more just like I need all of my hands. So that is kind of like a step 0. I'm walking my dogs separately. Then I guess I'm actually making numbers now. 1, I am only exposing him to those fence fighting dogs when his needs have been met. So I am not having him do no running, no toy play, especially not for 3 days, which is what happened when we first moved, and then showing him a dog who is threatening him with violence behind a fence, because this dog, Cupid, was bred for violence, and it just does not feel fair to me to tell him you are absolutely not allowed to engage with that dog, because he is just his life is sad for those 3 days when he hasn't done anything. So I'm making sure that his needs are met so that I feel like I can fairly hold him accountable. You're not allowed to fight with this dog, even and you're not necessarily pent up. Your needs have been met. Okay, now I can say you're really not allowed to do that. Period. It's not allowed, and I can do that fairly. Okay, and then for when I'm actually showing him this picture of the fence fighting dogs and we're working on his response, my training plan is at a medium or hard situation or proximity, we're going to play with toys. So he feels the urge to bite something, essentially, and I am channeling that into toy play with me. Then at a medium easy distance or proximity or scenario, whatever, we're going to do find it sniffy food reward. At an easy to medium distance or situation, we're going to do obedience. And I didn't put this, but I would also say, like, at a easy situation, I can just let him be, which becomes more and more situations as these training techniques affect his actual mood and emotion in those situations. And I don't necessarily expect to not have to do anything. Like if we walk by a dog and the dog booga woogas out from a foot away and we're right there, like I'm expecting that I'm going to have to give him a cue, leave it, maybe some leash direction or whatever in that situation, and sure, I'll reward him afterwards. Like, that seems reasonable to me based on his life experiences so far and how novel of a situation and, like, how extremely emotional it is. Like, those dogs are giving it 200% in terms of emotion. Like, that's kind of my expectation of, like, what my goal is in that situation. I'm not expecting him to just completely feel neutrally and to stand by a fence with a dog trying to fight with him, and he's just like, I'm Buddha, I'm Zen, I'm meditating. No, like, I'll help him. He just needs to be under control. On top of all of that, my plan is to give him a strong and hard correction for reacting in that situation, meaning ignoring me, pulling forward, and especially if he were to, like, lunge and vocalize. And that's going to happen organically despite my best intentions to keep things under control and threshold. Because the crux of this whole situation is that half, I would say, of these dogs understand the element of surprise, and they are surprising you on purpose. They're hiding under or behind whatever. They're hiding in the corner, and they are running out and booga woogaing you, and like that's the game for them. And so like I'm not gonna have to think about like, oh, now I'm gonna do a rep where I set him up to do the wrong thing, because like that's gonna happen. Like we're gonna get surprised and he's gonna do the wrong thing sometimes. And so on, the hard correction part is not the main point of the training plan, but that is going to be involved, and that's going to help with everything else that I'm doing. So that's the training plan. We've just barely started it because he, as I explained already, injured himself immediately when we moved, and so I've just been kind of keeping him quiet and keeping a quiet life. But we're gonna start like today after I do this vlog. I'm gonna go out and exercise him, and then intentionally linger and look for dogs behind fences on our way back from the park. Okay. Other moving training is basically the same as the first moving vlog that I posted, actually. I am being very careful about my dogs at windows. This is a different neighborhood, different things to look at. I just want to make sure that they understand that they're not allowed to bark out the windows. And really, in the way that my house is set up right now, they don't need to be looking out windows, period. So those are the rules. We don't stare out windows. And that includes kind of with the same idea, hearing new noises outside. I was a little worried when we got here. We can hear a lot of dogs barking out in the neighborhood. You might have even heard them on this video, but it hasn't been an issue. Yay! I think they heard dogs barking enough in the old place that they're like, oh, that doesn't have anything to do with us. Even with the dogs that are barking like a little bit more aggressively because they're behind fences and stuff. And we have little dogs that live underneath us downstairs. They go out, they're really old and cute, and they go out right now in the front yard to go to the bathroom, and one of them has that thing where he just barks at nothing. Just goes out and just barks at the ghosts in the air. And so I've basically just been attentive and paying attention when that happens to make sure that my dogs aren't going to bark back at them, and I'll, talk to them and tell them that they did a good job not freaking out when they hear those dogs. Calmly talking to them. The stairs are a little bit different here. They have a curve in them, so I've been having to walk very slowly with Cupid to teach him to move slowly and not just somersault down the stairs. I had stairs in my old moving vlog, but it's the same thing because it's a different set, and he's got to learn again how to move his body since that is not intuitive to him. And then I'm just backing up. We're in a new house, but it's the same rules. You can't counter surf. I couldn't think of any other examples, but you don't sprint around in here. My dogs are too big. They can't be sprinting around inside. And we're calm in the bedroom. I mostly have Cupid stay in my bedroom instead of the crate throughout the day, and so I've just been making sure that he, does a little something, or, I'm not putting him, like in the old place, I could just not exercise him and I'd put him in my bedroom and I knew that he'd be fine and not like destructive because he was used to that, and I just saw over time, like he'd come out and be all sleepy. I just knew that he was conditioned to just sleep when he was in there. It's the same bed. The bed smells the same. I have this sound machine that makes the same sound, so we're carrying those context clues over from the old apartment. But I'm just being a little careful. I'm not leaving him in there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours right away because I want to make sure that he doesn't get a bug up his butt and just tear up my mattress because he's in a new apartment. I feel that we're actually kind of past that already, but it's something that I was thinking about when we first got here, since I do make the choice to have him in my bedroom instead of a crate when I'm gone. And and it works. He has not, knock on wood, chewed on anything in my bedroom since he was like 2 years old. When he was 2 years old, he one time, I think I know exactly what happened to. I don't think he was like, I'm crazy, nom 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 nom. I think what happened when he was two is that he like digs on the sheets a little bit to like make a nest for himself to sleep in. I think he did that and he accidentally completely took like all of the sheets and like the mattress pad up, and then the like Tempur-Pedic memory foam was exposed, and he saw that and he ripped it up, but only a little bit. He didn't go full Malinois mode and like destroy the whole thing. He took a couple of chunks out, and yeah, so I like two when he was two, which was over 4 years ago, I had to like reintroduce the bedroom slowly and be like, wow, I wonder if you're gonna tear up my whole mattress. But I think it was just not I think, I know it was just a one-time thing, because it didn't happen again. And yes, in case you're wondering, I still have that little hole in my mattress topper, and it's at the end of my bed, and the dogs like to target it and curl up inside the hole and like let the hole support them when they like go donut mode, and that is how I live my life. um so yeah, that's the story. That's all of the things that we are doing in regards to moving. And in conclusion, I'm very happy to be here. Like, come on, just look at the natural light right now. Look at me. Look at these sconces. Look at my tank girl poster. It's great. Look at this hallway. There was a door at the end of that hall. That was like a third bedroom situation. And we took the door off its hinges so that I would have like, you can see all the way to the back, and you can see the light from that south facing window is coming in all the way over here. And it's just like, it's just nice. It's just nice. It's all up from here. Everything's only gonna keep getting better. That's what I feel. That's how I feel right now at this exact moment. And so yeah, that's the end of my moving vlog. This was a lot longer than I realized it was going to be. I wonder if anyone will actually listen to all of this. If you do, tell me so that I know that I did this for a reason. Though, I don't know, this was kind of my little journaling moment too, so maybe it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's it. Bye. See you around. Come to my group classes. Hire me for private lessons. Hire me for a seminar? Do you want me to do a seminar for you if you have a facility? I also would love to run around the country and do seminars for doggy dance all around the country, but I just need to like make a packet for that and pitch it to people, and I have a lot of stuff that I have to do all the time, so I have not done that yet. Okay, that's the end. Bye. Have a good one.